Hello, everyone. What's up? And welcome back to another episode review of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Today, we're taking a look at the first 3 episodes of Season 3, the final season of The Bad Batch. And I am so excited to be back. I love this show. These 3 episodes are so good. I was just, love Star Wars. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Talk about kind of at least for the first episode, a very dour opening to this season with Omega in confinement. Nalase being all secretive about keeping her blood hidden and etc. And just, the oppressive, we're going to beat down on Omega's spirit. But she's strong. It's like, it's going to be difficult to really beat down on her spirit because, even by the end of the episode, she's still kind of, fighting in small little ways. So really, really enjoyed that. Learning more about Dr. Emery. Clearly, we're going to be learning more about her throughout the season. But yeah, it's like when was she created? For what purpose? Is she even? I mean, we're assuming she is a Fett clone at this point, considering at the end of the last season she said, "I'm your sister, Omega." It's like if they just both happen to be clones, but they don't share any genetic DNA, then I guess they wouldn't necessarily be sisters. But so that's why we're assuming she's a Fett clone. And I think that's probably the fact, considering she speaks with that New Zealand-ish accent. So it seems like she could definitely be an older Omega, but I guess we'll see. So yeah, first episode, very very good. A little on the darker side. I will say it is odd to see clone commandos just being used as security guards. Basically, I know this is a very secretive, very important research station, Mount Tantus or whatever. But it's like, I'm used to these guys running around doing special ops missions, and now they're just like standing by doorways and letting Omega in when they see her coming. It's like, there's better things these guys could be doing. But of course, I say that, but right now, it's the Empire. It's not the Republic. So so I'm sure during the war they were running around doing special ops missions. But it's like, so it is just weird seeing them, especially Scorch now, just being relegated to armed security. And also, we have a new designation for Scorch. He's officially in the credits listed as Commander Scorch, I'm seeing. So I do wonder what they're going to do with that, because they're actually giving him the role of commander now. I hope that it's like, it doesn't have to be a big thing, just like a little mention or something. Like maybe Hemlock could even go, it's like, look how well my reprogramming works. I took this one away from his squad. He was very spirited, and now he's the most loyal commander I've ever served with, or something like that. It's like, even a little something like that, it'd be okay. I see what's going on here. So I don't know, but I don't want Scorch to just kind of be this, original trilogy Boba Fett. He's in the background, he looks cool, and he kind of gets shoved aside and killed off in the last episode or whatever, and nothing is really done with him, because because he's an established character that everyone knows from the EU. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people that know him from the EU and the Republic Commando days and all that. So it's like, it'd be kind of a shame for to actually name drop, oh yeah, this is Scorch, and we're just going to do absolutely nothing with that. But I mean, it's Bad Batch. It's a busy show, and it's like, and there's still a lot of episodes to go. So who knows what they're going to do with that. Moving on to the next episode, speaking of clones and throwing them away, good segue there. We have these 3 clone cadets abandoned on this one little planet, and this is definitely, the most action-packed of the 3 episodes. This feels like a typical Bad Batch episode where they're running around, getting into shenanigans, close calls, narrow escapes. This felt a little more run-of-the-mill, but I still really enjoyed it because of the tension between the clones here, where it's like you have Wrecker and Hunter, they're 99s, they're not normal, and now these younger cadets are, they were left behind, and they were like, oh, even the regular clones didn't care about us. They said they were just following orders. So clearly some of them still under that Order 66 programming that was making them way more obedient. So so yeah, them kind of being disillusioned with what they were training to be, and then getting rescued by real by real clones and not those that have been brainwashed by the Empire, quite literally. I liked that. I liked that one of them was immediately more receptive to helping. And then Daniel Logan returning as a young clone, since he is young Boba Fett. So always nice to see Daniel Logan back. And then the other two were, because I guess these three are like in different stages of their adolescence. So the voices are varying at this point in their lives. Switching from the Daniel Logan into the Temuera Morrison or D. Bradley Baker's impression of Temuera Morrison. So then the other two were voiced by the kid from Deadpool 2 and not Where the Wild Things Are. Hunt for the Wilder People. That's what I was thinking of. It's that Taika Waititi movie. So yeah, cool to see him in Star Wars. That's really cool. I thought the Vine Kraken monster was a really interesting design. I mean, that was straight up the Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean there when it opened its maw. And it's like, gee, I wonder I wonder what your inspiration for that was. But yeah, cool to see an element like that thrown into Star Wars. And the fact that it wasn't necessarily a sea creature and those were actually like supposed to be vines or whatever. And so maybe it was some sort of organic hybrid of both plant and animal materials. Like what other crazy experiments was Hemlock up to on other planets with other facilities and stuff before Mount Tantus? It's like kind of scary to think about, especially that's one of them. So cool, really cool concept. Made for a nice fight. I like that they got Gonky out and about for a little bit because a lot of times he is just kind of left behind on the ship. So it's like, hey, you're joining the mission this time, buddy, and he's just like gonk, gonk, gonk. It's so yeah, I like it when the show utilizes all of its characters, even the more kind of background characters like Gonky the power droid. Speaking of utilizing characters, no appearance from Echo this episode, as they mentioned that he's off with Rex, doing, searching for other leads, and probably trying to find other wayward clones as well. So it made the ship feel very empty because there's so many people missing now. Omega captured, Crosshair captured, Tech had an issue with gravity last season. Going back to I'm pretty sure it's the last episode, or maybe it's the next one where they introduced the scary assassin clone. And people, I've already seen people online. They are adamant that is Tech, and that of course he survived the fall, and Hemlock's like turned him into a Winter Soldier assassin. And I kind of talked about this, in the last review at the end of the last season, but I really don't want that to happen. Tech's sacrifice was so well done. I don't want to undermine that with haha, he got turned into the Winter Soldier. We're taking a page out of Marvel here because it's just, I know that the circumstances are different, and Crosshair kind of did his betrayal willingly, and Tech would be more unwillingly, so there would be some differences. But overall, it would still just be so similar. It's like, okay, so now two of the squad have betrayed, whether willingly or unwillingly, their squad mates, and are now hunting them down as a sleek black suited assassin. That just seems too repetitive. I mean, it's kind of like, good thing we took out that Death Star. Hope they don't build oh no, they built another one. It's like, oh, here we go again. It's like, that's just kind of a, I don't know. At this point in Star Wars, I would think that the writers would hopefully be above repeating things that often. Especially in like the same show. It's bookending it with Crosshair as an assassin chasing after them, and then Tech as an assassin chasing after them. I mean, and that's another thing. It made sense for Crosshair. It doesn't really make sense for Tech. If anything, it makes more sense for Hemlock to string Tech up like the Techno Union did to Echo in Clone Wars, and utilize his mind. It doesn't really seem like he'd be useful for like assassin. And yeah, he's a commando. He's able to wreck it with the best of them and everything. But I don't know. That just doesn't seem like that would be the proper use of a still alive tech. And of course, like I said, it's like his sacrifice was so good. It's like why diminish that by making him this brainwashed assassin? So yeah, that's kind of my take on it, because I feel like because eventually I think we can kind of see things formulating. Omega and Crosshair are going to make it back to Wrecker and Hunter. They're going to reform the Bad Batch and everything. Echo's probably going to rejoin them again as well, but they're all going to have to deal with the loss of Tech, and Crosshair will probably have to struggle with the idea that he was partially responsible for that, because the whole reason they were there on Tarkin's homeworld was to find where he was, because he had left the group and gotten himself captured, and had, after trying to hunt them down and everything. And if he hadn't done that, then they wouldn't have had a reason to be there. So the eventual realization, because I don't know if he knows that Tech is dead currently, because Omega said, it's like, oh yeah, Tech had me learn all of the plans. He's like, of course he did, but there was no hint of sadness or anything. So I don't know if Omega's told him that Tech is dead, or presumed dead anyway. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think keeping Tech dead is just a much more dramatically fulfilling direction for the story to go, as opposed to, ooh, he's a brainwashed assassin. Ooh, it's like, well, and I would need to go back and watch it, but I'm pretty sure in the trailer we see the clone assassin unmasked, and he's just a reg. He's just a regular trooper by the look of it, and definitely not Tech. But of course, that could have been old footage from season 2, where they had another clone assassin in the Rex and Chuchi doing stuff on Coruscant episode. So so I'd have to go back and double check, and that's totally possible. But in the part in the trailer where they're like, they're coming for all of you, it's like that. I'm pretty sure, unless they were doing some trickery, I'm pretty sure that was just a regular a regular clone in that assassin armor. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where but they're really building them. I wonder if they're going to like try to do a bait and switch, where they're going to make you think it's Tech, and it's like, no, it's just a regular clone. Haha, we tricked you. So yeah, I don't know exactly where they're going with this, but I mean, like I said, there's a whole lot of episodes left, so we'll find out. And so yeah, then episode 3 of 3 was The Big Escape, where it's like, that's not a plan. It's like, I'm improvising. It's like, she really, Omega really is a member of the Bad Batch, good at improvising. It's like, it's crazy to just in 3 seasons how far she's come. Seeing her in her first couple episodes, very wide-eyed and naive, and she's still kind of wide-eyed, but I feel like a lot of the naivete has fallen away, and now she's just optimistic. But it's not really naive. It's not really her being naive anymore, because she's very sure of herself now. It's like the way she handled herself with a blaster, taking on the stormtroopers and everything in the jungle. Yeah, that was because she has all that skill now from using her bow. So it was one of those things where I'm watching, I'm like, oh wow, she's good, and it's like, well, look at who's been training her. So yeah, really cool to see there. Palpatine arriving on I'm assuming that this is going to be it, since it's Mount Tantus. It's Wayland. The planet's name is Wayland. They just haven't said that out loud yet. Because that's straight from the EU. So Palpatine coming by, I'm pretty. It's like we're connecting to the sequel trilogy here. They mentioned Project Necromancer, as did The Mandalorian season 3. So this is the beginnings of Palpatine's cloning operation, which we've kind of known, for a little while now. So it's cool to see that we are kind of that retroactively we're building up and establishing firm links to the sequel trilogy, so that way, when you go back and watch everything, somehow Palpatine returned isn't a terrible, terrible, terrible line and very lazy screenwriting, because now there's all this stuff to reinforce it. Granted, the whole reason we're having to reinforce it to begin with is because it was a terrible line. That was lazy screenwriting. And again, the line itself is not bad, because the rebels don't actually, but it's like, but the fact that we as the audience, that's all the explanation we get, that's what makes it bad. I'll say that time and again, where some people just say it's like, oh, the sentence structure, it's like, no, the line itself is not bad, it's the context around the line that makes it bad. But anyway, so yeah, Hemlock up to a lot of shady things with the Emperor. I did like the fact that he did say that, there are even those among our own ranks that would consider your work an abomination. I wonder if one of those people would be Vader, because I know from the current run of Star Wars comics, Vader does not find out about Exegol until after Empire Strikes Back. So Palpatine keeps a lot of this stuff hidden from him for a long time, like 20 years or so. So, and then by that point, Vader is, he has no choice to be the Emperor's lapdog. There is no wiggle room anymore where he could, maybe decide he wants out of this deal. I mean, he's stuck in it until Luke confronts him on the second Death Star. So it is interesting to think about. It's like, who if some of the other Imperials knew about some of this stuff, how would that go? It's like, would there be, Imperial civil war where you have a certain faction going against Palpatine because he's doing all this Sith wizardry stuff that they don't necessarily like? It's like, oh, the Emperor's crazy. He's trying to clone himself to gain eternal life. Yeah, this is not good. We need to establish a new, political figurehead and figure this out, because the person we thought it was okay to follow was actually a nut job. so that'd be interesting. So yeah, very secretive work going on and everything. And the fact that it hasn't really been mentioned anywhere else, it's like, oh, it was a secret. I think that easy way to kind of hand wave some of that stuff while still building firmer connections to the rest of, the Star Wars saga with, stuff in The Mandalorian, of course, the sequels. So yeah, another good episode. The ticking clock kind of device of the machine checking all the blood and everything, that was so well done. I loved that. The mechanical click 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 clonk, the very ugly sounding clonk. I really loved that. It really helped build up the tension. That was so well done. I really hope that after the Bad Batch, they continue to do, and maybe, go further into making Tales of the Jedi a more fleshed out series and not just a series of shorts. I would really, really love that, because this writing team, this animation team knows how to do Star Wars so well, and while also doing it in, adding new and interesting things to it, such as that, and they just know a way to present it really well, that I really hope they do more, and they don't just go, okay, well, now the only thing we're going to work on is, 3-minute Tales. Well, I mean, they're not that short, but 5-minute Tales of the Jedi episodes and Young Jedi Adventures. Which, not to disparage Young Jedi Adventures, it's great that the preschool market has a show. Way back in the day, I would have ate that show up when I was a preschool. It's like a preschool Star Wars show. Yes, sign me up. It's like, I'll learn shapes of Master Yoda, whatever. That it's awesome, but clearly not marketed for me, a 26-year-old adult. So. Well, and that's the thing. I don't even know if Lucasfilm Animation does. I would assume that they do Young Jedi Adventures, but I don't know. They may not. That may be. They may have hired an outside animation team for that. I don't know. I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, no, I do hope this team continues to work in Star Wars animation, because I've said for a long time now that I think Star Wars has a place on television. I think some of Star Wars' strongest storytelling is on television, and I think that some of Star Wars' strongest storytelling is in animated television. between Clone Wars and Rebels and now Bad Batch. It's like I want them to continue making animated Star Wars projects. They're just really, really good. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to the rest of the season. These were 3 great episodes to start out with. And hopefully it just gets better from here. I've seen some, like critics that were given like the first 8 episodes or something as a screener. And from what I've seen, the response has been pretty positive. So I will be eagerly awaiting each Wednesday, and reviews for each new episode should be out on Fridays. Circumstances may end up delaying them, like until like Monday or something, because I can't predict the future. So, but the plan is to get these episode reviews out on Fridays for this go round. So yeah, that'll pretty much be it for this review. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Bad Batch. And yeah, so thank you for watching and goodbye.